These are the 9 things I stopped doing to make more music. Number 1, checking my phone and getting distracted. I noticed that whenever I checked even one notification on my phone, I'd often get pulled down the rabbit hole only to look up 30 minutes later to my DAW still being blank. So I decided to start removing my phone from my pocket and tossing it on my bed out of reach before I even sat down to produce. This small added layer of friction of not being able to easily grab my phone let me stay focused on creating music and get into a flow state easier. Number 2, keeping other tabs open on my computer. This changed the way that I make music, allowing me to easily concentrate without getting sidetracked. It wasn't a new plugin or a fancy mic. It was simple. Open browser tabs equals procrastination potential. Each click of opening a new tab was just another rabbit hole for me, and music demands your attention, and those tabs are kind of just like kryptonite. And the more tabs that you have open, the easier it is for you to get distracted. And so what I wanted to do is add as many steps as possible between me and being able to open a new random tab when I was making music. So some things that I did in order to help me combat this was to create a new desktop on my computer entirely that only held my DAW. And another thing that you could do if you want to go even further than that is to create an entire new user. So this way that only has your DAW as a program so that you can't even click the icon itself. And by kind of closing out all tabs before you even start producing is another thing that you can do to help you not get distracted by them and really make sure you're making this commitment to the music that you're trying to make. Number 3, thinking I needed more plugins or gear to be able to make more music. Everything you know about buying gear is wrong. It's just a bad habit known as gear acquisition syndrome. When I first started, I saw other producers online and thought I needed the exact same setup as they had. The only reason I got the machine in the first place was because I saw Datsun and Ninth Wonder using it. But over time, I started to come to the conclusion that it wasn't the gear that made the music great, it was the artist behind the gear. I was only buying gear out of the consumerism and not out of creativity. I had to learn how to get resourceful when I didn't have the resources. As they say, it's not the arrow, it's the archer. Number 4, watching tutorials without applying them. Is it just me, or have you ever watched an entire tutorial only to open up your DAW and completely forget everything it said to do? I remember when I first started making music, I watched a 30-minute video from Andrew Huang on music theory, and after it finished, I thought I knew everything I needed to do until I actually sat down in front of my DAW and I realized I forgot everything he said and had to re-watch through the entire video over again from the start. It's great to learn, but binge watching tutorials can eat into production times, and you want to choose specific skills that you need, set time limitations, and get back to creating. After that happened to me, I tried to make sure that I follow along with tutorials as they're saying to do the things, rather than waiting till the end and then needing to rewatch the entire lesson again. This saved me a lot of time and also let me learn quicker since you are actively applying the techniques as they come, rather than passively learning about them and then having a brain fart after like I did. Number 5, avoiding the hard parts of finishing music. This is why you keep hitting save as instead of export. It's not that it sounds bad, you just never quite finish. Does this sound familiar to you? Don't worry, you're not alone. I've seen this happen so much that I started to call it completion avoidance syndrome. Instead of blaming perfection or overthinking, consider this. You're just one skill tweak away from crossing that finish line. Maybe it's mastering the tricky mixdown, or maybe it's learning how to structure and arrange a track. Each time that you click save as, it's a missed opportunity for you to show off your music potential. But it doesn't have to be that way. 1 hour spent mastering that skill that you're missing can elevate your track from bedroom demo to radio-ready banger. A quick online tutorial on arrangement can give you the track structure and the memorable outro that it needs. And joining a supportive music community can provide the encouragement and feedback you need to hit export with confidence. Imagine the feeling of sharing your music not just online, but with a supportive group of music makers, and the validation and feedback and joy that comes with connecting others with the music that you're creating in general. This confidence boost will echo in your music and help propel you towards even greater creative heights. If that sounds interesting to you, then you can apply for our Music Momentum community where we do exactly that. To see exactly what's inside the community, read the description of this video and I'll give you more information. So stop saving and start finishing. The only thing scarier than finishing is the regret of never truly knowing what your music could have become. Number 6, chasing perfection. It took me 3 years and over 500 beats before I was finally able to get over this one. It's so common for producers to want to strive for perfection when they make music, but this can often paralyze your progress like it did for me. If you can keep going when you're getting frustrated, you'll discover new levels of confidence to overcome that perfectionism. So if you're at that point where you feel like giving up because the track isn't the exact way you want it, learn to accept good enough and move on to the next one. Trust the editing process, and you can always iterate on it later if you need to. Number 7, comparing yourself to others. You should never, under any circumstance, compare yourself to others unless you understand this first. Comparing yourself to others isn't going to make you happy. Especially with social media, it can often be a trap. But if you learn to compare the right parts of the experience, you can celebrate your own journey. By using positive upward comparisons, you can look to see what you can achieve if you keep on your path. By using positive downward comparisons, you can be grateful for what you have compared to others. These two methods, compared to their negative counterparts, let you focus on your strengths and use others as inspiration, not as a measuring stick. Number 8, neglecting your well-being. For 2 years straight, I posted over 900 pieces of content and realized that I neglected this crucial part of the creative process. It wasn't the latest gear, the perfect samples, or the most advanced mixing techniques. It was neglecting my well-being. The reason this happened was because I became bluntly aware of it after hitting a wall. I got to a point where all of my energy was drained and music began to feel forced. In order to avoid burning out, I had to take breaks, go on walks, and maintain healthy habits that nurtured my creativity outside of music and escape that exhaustion so I could keep my inspiration flowing. Number 9. Fearing release and feedback from others. If you want to make it as a music producer, I have one piece of advice for you. Don't let the fear of judgment hold you back. Stop being scared of releasing your music and getting feedback from your fans. The most effective way that you can do this is by simply sharing your work with trusted ears before putting it out publicly. If you don't have anyone, another idea I always like is to show your bad work. Whether it's music or content, the most important part isn't if it's good, it's if you enjoyed creating it and if you're proud of the outcome. That is all that's in our control. What the audience thinks is outside of our control, so why are you worrying about it? Let me know in a comment below if you're going to try any of these 9, and also subscribe for more. Until next time, peace.